Hi everyone, welcome back, Jedi here. So this is number 2 in a series of safety videos that I'm putting up on my channel after talking to Mick, Pack the Sack. I wanted to start off my series with quite simply the Victorinox Swiss Army knife. And the reason that I'm doing that is because I think the Victorinox or Wenger, Swiss Army knives, whatever variation you've got, are probably the first tool that youngsters are exposed to when they come into contact with edge tools. You start as a Boy Scout, you get given a gift of a folding knife. You know, in the US it might be a case folding knife, it might be a trapper version, it might be you know, something else, but the folding knife is really the first one I think most children come into contact with. The Western world, the USA, is the biggest importer of Swiss Army knives in the world. It's a fantastic little tool, it's very versatile, it's very convenient to carry, but it has its dangers as well. One of the main pluses with a Swiss Army knife is, or any folding knife, is that you've got a sheathing option and a storage option built into the knife itself, i.e. the handle, and they will either come as slip joints or friction folders or locking mechanisms of different varieties, and it's really up to you to go out there and research which locking variety, if that's the route you want to go down, is most suitable to you. Some people like sliding locks on the side of the handles, some people don't. Some people like the other varieties of locking mechanisms that you've got out there, lockback varieties, you know, so on and so forth. You go out there and research which different type of locking mechanism you're happy with and you feel is safe for you. Because the downside of a folding knife is that you've got moving parts, and those moving parts can fail, including the lock. Now undoubtedly I would say that the slip joint versions are slightly more hazardous than a locking blade for obvious reasons, but in the UK legally we're only allowed to carry in public places with good reason slip joints. I'm not going to go into the knife laws, but you know, non-locking blades is what it's all about in the UK. So the plus point is you've got a sheathing option, the downside is it's non-locking. On the plus side, it's very easy to carry. In terms of a reverse propensity for accidents to happen, a small folding knife, there may be billions of them around, but the likelihood of them being used for the types of jobs where serious injuries are going to happen is very, very small. One of the reasons I think accidents happen with things like folding knives is that people try and push them beyond their limits. They try and either use the tool for a job that it's not designed to be used for, or they use the tool beyond its capabilities. The other reason I think accidents happen is poor technique from using these things. Actually, they can cope with an awful lot more than we believe that it is possible for them. But the wrong technique and the wrong mechanics can often make it very, very difficult to use even a small tool like this, which is very capable. And I carry this one as my EDC every single day. Let's go on to the mechanics of and cutting techniques that we can use for a knife, any knife. But I'm going to demonstrate it particularly with the Swiss Army knife. So let me go and grab some material and then I'll come back to you. Right, so one of the first things that we need to realise when we're using these tools at close quarters is that we've got a danger area. And this area is the danger triangle, or the dangerous triangle, or you'll hear it being called other things. I call it the danger triangle, and it's this bit here, from the groin down the inside of the legs to the knees. Anything in this area is dangerous if you're cutting towards it. One of the main reasons for that is that you've got a femoral artery femoral artery running down the inside of your leg, and if you cut into that, especially if you're out in the woods on your own or even with somebody else, by the time they've run and got help and you've got an ambulance, you're dead. Simple as. So it's very tempting sometimes to cut towards our legs, bring the knife towards us. Always avoid this area, the danger area. Not to mention I've got a trilogy of things that I don't want to be losing with a slipping knife. Right guys, so when you're going to open a blade on a pen knife, you'll find a nail nick generally on the inside, or some other kind of thumb stud or something. The way we open a knife is just as important to consider. Open the blade up as far as you can with the nail nick. Hold the knife in your fingers, either side, nothing overlapping the blade, and then just with your fingers either move the handle up or the blade, or both at the same time. Nice and easy, nice and safe. When you go to close the blade, the slip joint particularly has a point at which it will disengage. Hold it nice and firm in your hands, find that break point, check that nothing is going to get caught in the way, and close the blade safely into the handle. Some people will take it and do it on the back of their legs, some people will do it on the back of their sides, or their sides, underhand, so on and so forth. Another way you can do it, I'll come up to camera. Another way you can do it if you want to is to hold the knife up like that and just disengage it with the back of your hand, keeping fingers clear and closing the blade like that, nice and safe. Believe me, these things bite, and I've seen them bite. You probably won't lose a finger from this, but you'll get a cut. When we go to hand a knife to somebody, it's very, very important that we do it in a particular and specific way. And it's just as important with a small tool as it is with a big tool. Don't get complacent just because this is a Swiss Army knife and not a fixed blade Mora or a 5-inch Pathfinder knife, whatever. The way that I like to hand a knife is slightly different, I guess, to a lot of people, but I still do it this way for a reason. Using your hand in this manner is fine. Blade up, point towards you as if I'm going to hand the knife to you. But I just like to actually just turn my finger down a little bit like this, and I like to hold it that way. And the reason that I say that is because I've seen, when I've been watching other people, I've actually seen somebody take the knife, the finger hasn't gone like that, but what they've done is as they've pulled it away, they've turned away at an angle, and as they've turned away at an angle, the blade has come around like that and caught the person's finger and actually given them quite a nice gash along the finger. I know a lot of people say it's safe to do it that way, and it might well be, that's absolutely fine, but I just like to bring my finger down, make sure it's nice and out the way, and if somebody does take it like that, I'm not going to have a gash on my finger. That's just my preference. I'm not saying it's right and the other way is wrong, it's just my preference. Nice grip. When I'm handing it over to you, acknowledge you've got control of the blade, you've taken hold of the handle, I can now release, and I'll come away and I'll let you take hold of the blade. Acknowledge. You don't have to have a big conversation about it, as Mick said in his video, but just eye contact. You got it? Nice one. Okay, yeah, nice one, thank you, brilliant. Acknowledge receipt and let go. So on to cutting techniques. There's a number of different cutting techniques that we can use. Mainly people will sit there and bash away like this and their arms going left, right and centre, and they wonder why they've got a big swollen elbow the next day. Use the mechanics of your body. Your body has got big muscle groups all over it that can be used for different jobs, and this is one of those. In terms of safety, something like this, you know, is alright, and people might say, well, what's going to happen? Nothing can happen there. Oh, Sugar, the little Jack Russell dog's just walked in front of me. There's a knife flying out of my hand. Sorry Jack, you've got a knife sticking out your back leg. Keep control of the knife. Hold the blade using this grip, a hammer grip, with the blade facing outwards. And use the back muscles and shoulder muscles to pull through the blade that way. The major muscles that you're using for this are the trapezius muscles in your back, the 3 variations on the trapezius muscle, and the latissimus dorsi. They're the major muscles in your back that you can work to use these tools effectively. And actually, when you get a bite in the wood, when you're trying to do it this way, it works out harder. You're trying to put more pressure on, so it actually feels as if the knife is not working as hard as it can do. By doing it this way and using your back muscles, you're getting far more mechanical advantage from the blade. So that's the first grip that we can use. The second grip is just a slight variation on that, and it's often used for power cuts. So we turn the knife round in our hand like this, so the blade is facing upwards. Arms into the sides. Close quarters, making sure your fingers are always out of the way. Turn the knife round, and this is a very powerful cut to get nice and deep. It's nice and safe. It's often called the scissor cut because that's what your arms are doing, scissoring. And again, you're using those major muscle groups in your back to do most of the work. And you can get some really good controlled cuts that way. So that's the scissor. Again, using mechanical advantage, you can still use your knee as a brace, and you can still do it with a small Swiss Army knife as well to gain some mechanical advantage. No reason why not. You can hold it down the bottom end, brace it against the divot crease in your knee, and again, just use the knife nice and safely, pull back on the piece that you're working on. Now, another cut that we'll quite often use is going to be a push cut at close quarters, and quite often we'll use this one for notching purposes. So if I come up to the camera, this is not one, I guess most people are familiar with it, but for notching purposes quite often you can use your thumb to gain the power. Just rotate your wrist a little bit, and that gives you a lot of control over the cut that way. You don't have to do it like that and force down into it. Just nice and easy. Rotate the wrist, push on the back of the blade with your thumb, and that gives you a very powerful controlled cut. Now, another thing that we look to do when we're doing this kind of cut quite often is a push cut, and another variation on it anyway. And what we can use this for is to enable us to more effectively and safely make those notches. Quite often what I'll see people doing is holding it like this and putting it under their hand and forcing down like this. Never ever force a knife towards your body. Never force it towards your hands, fingers or anything. If you've got a hearth board you want to put a notch in, never ever do this. Never ever put the knife into the notch like this while you're holding it. Use something that you can rest onto. Use the bench. With my notches, now I've got a nice mechanical advantage to push down into those slight cuts, and that we're calling a stop cut. So a stop cut is what we might put into the wood prior to doing those push cuts with the thumb, and that does exactly what it says on the tin. It enables the blade to stop at the end of the cut. So I'm doing this very gently now with my knife just rocking backwards and forwards. You can do that, my knife's not going anywhere. That's my stop cut. So now when I get to the end of this, the knife stops and I can just push to break those pieces away. Using my back muscles, I can just push and make my stop cut. Using my push cut with my thumb, nice and easy, nice and controlled, next to my body, I can push down, nothing in the way, and there's my stop cut, there's my notch. Nice and easy, nice and safe. Another variation, and this is another one where I've actually seen some injuries happen. If you're making something like a tent peg, or you could be using this particular grip for slicing an apple or an orange, you might look to chamfer the top of a piece of wood to stop it splitting. And quite often what I've seen is people doing this. Put the thumb on the back and they bring the blade round. Now that's really great grip if you want to get a nice cut in your thumb. If you want to avoid cutting your thumb, which I hope most people do, drop the thumb down and use the hand to bring across. This is a very safe cut actually, because the mechanics of the way that your hand will work, if your thumb is nice and down, out of the way, just trying to get a better view of that so you can see it, you'll actually pull through and the mechanics of your hand will stop the knife from travelling towards your body. Let's do that around here. Do that a bit more gently so you can see it. Alright, so just pulling, make sure the thumb is nice and down out the way. Hold on to it if you have to. Just pull with the fingers. Just pull with the fingers. And you can use that same cutting technique for apples, oranges, whatever, but just make sure the thumb is out of the way of the blade coming through. Chamfer the top, nice and easy. And that's quite a common one as well if you want to round edges. Alright. Thumb is nice and out the way, no problem. Adjust if need be, that's the thing, don't try and force a cut if it's uncomfortable. Bringing this round, nice and easy, take your time over it, go slow, little and often, but just avoid the thumb from being in the way of the blade travel. And there you have it. Alright, so they're basically the main cuts.